Dr. Evil. He looks like Dr. Evil. Like
yeah, well, and he's very stoic, and people, what the hell? This guy doesn't even look like he's even remotely interested. People need to realize before he was ever part of the ENIC and before he was ever a part of the board, he was a fan. You're correct in that.
Fan. Absolutely right. And I mean, the first time I met him, I did expect him to spin round and there'd be like a white cat on his shoulder. He'd be menacingly stroking it, you know, as I choked on my chunky Kit Kat that I managed to fight to get back into the lane.
How often do you get to meet?
Not like that at all.
How often do you get to meet with Daniel on the board? As the trust?
A year, in a formal capacity. So the next one is tomorrow night, as I said. So obviously our agenda is heavily influenced by the new stadium. Now the CPO issue with Archway Steel has finally been resolved. Around the ground share, which is a massive topic for us, obviously, and around player recruitment and development policy. Now we've got new people like Paul Mitchell on board. So kind of see where that is. So that's coming up tomorrow evening. There should be some interesting stuff coming out of that.
So when the trust looks at the numbers, what are you guys running right now for as far as members and supporters clubs and things like that? Is this thing growing exponentially at the rate you would like?
Yeah, it is, which is really great. And it's our job to make sure that our communications are as tip-top as possible and to make sure that we retain the members that we've got and that we expand further as well. So in terms of supporters clubs, we've got 25 that are now signed up to the trust. And in terms of the states, we've got Atlanta, Arlington, Austin, Buffalo, North Carolina, Chicago, Houston, New York, Seattle, and Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of the number of fans that we legitimately can say we represent, that's around about 10, 11,000. That's not bad.
That's brilliant.
And
from more or less a standing start 2 years ago.
Right. If you guys are interested, www.thstofficial.com is the website. Is it .com or .uk?
It's .com.
Okay, so it is
but
.com.
global.
It's very global. It's very easy to navigate around the website. So go on there, check it out. If you want to get your local supporters network involved, please do so. As she said, there are multiple supporters clubs out there worldwide that are a part of the trust, and you can be from a supporters network only. This way, it encompasses everybody in your group, and you can feed them back the information, all the stuff that's going on with the supporters trust and the club.
Absolutely. Thank you for that plug.
You're welcome. Simon?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to piggyback on that. Obviously, as a paid member, and very happy that you represent our views and can support those when you have those meetings, and we will continually re-up our membership every year, so count us.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no.
I mean, we do canvass our membership base for questions to take into those meetings.
Yep.
So my job tomorrow morning, when I'm obviously on a break from my paid job, because I should just point out that this is all voluntary, so we don't take any remuneration for being on trust boards, is printing off all the questions that have been sent in, collating them, and then printing them off. They will all get put in front of every member of the Tottenham Hotspur board. So any member who sent a question in, Donna, Daniel, and Matthew will see that question.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for what you do. I find your product, if you will, to be very thorough, done in a caring way, and there's obviously a great collection of supporters and minds from all different fields, and I can only imagine bigger and better stuff for the trust going forward.
Thank you. That's really kind.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's really good stuff. You're doing a great job. That's for sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, I got a quick question for you. So, we just talked about Daniel Levy and owners. What American, current owner of an American sports franchise do you think would make a great Premier League owner?
That's not already one, because the Glazers and Ron
that's
and Henry are already owners.
Yeah.
I would say Paul Allen.
Ooh. That's right. And he owns the Sounders, doesn't he?
Yeah, he owns the Sounders. He's done a good job with the Seahawks, and not quite as good a job with the Blazers, but he's certainly got the money, and he has the international interests, and I think he'd be good.
So that stadium holds what, 40,000 for soccer, for football? Is that right?
Here in Seattle?
Yeah.
It ranges. When they first started, I think they were holding somewhere in the low 30s, and then they expanded it, and now I think usually it's in the 40s, but often they'll open it all the way up.
And they've never not sold out. Like, they've sold out every match there since their existence. Is that true?
I can't say that for sure, but I know that, I wouldn't be surprised. And one thing that did surprise me was, I think it was 2 years ago, there was a list of the teams worldwide who had the highest average attendance.
And they're up there, aren't they?
And the Sounders were in the top 10.
Kat, are they your MLS team, given that you're a Seahawks fan?
I don't really. I suppose they would be, because there's an awful lot of crossover there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, they
tend.
I was going to say, they do this extraordinary thing where they, and Jim, maybe you can talk about this, like 20, 30,000 strong, they all walk together into the stadium, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they have very much a tradition of that, and I don't know if he still does it. Drew Carey used to lead the pack, which is also another interesting thing that I've been puzzled by, is that the American soccer, football fans, however you want to refer to it, over here mimic the English fans. They wear scarves, they do the chants, they get together, whereas they don't act as if they were American fans at another game, or at a basketball game, or at a baseball game, or American football game. They behave differently. It's like, we've got to act like the English fans do, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They act. They copy the way the English fans.
That's great.
Hey, Katrina and Jim, do you guys have any questions for us, being an American-based podcast, and we're trying to grow this thing here in the States, especially for you, Katrina, since we're club-related?
Well, I think you guys are doing a cracking job, from what I can gather. From a trust level, just let us know what you need more of. We're looking to bottom out our proposition for overseas supporters clubs. So what you guys from Dallas would like more of, let us know, definitely. And communicate with the club more. I've spoken to Ken about an initiative I'm trying to push with Tottenham Hotspur, which is to set up a council for overseas supporters clubs. So there's 10 or 12 representatives who can dial in, a couple of times a year or whatever, and raise things that they'd like more of from the club. To kind of have a direct dialogue there.
Great
so
idea.
that's something that I'm trying to push,
That'd
and I'll raise
great.
that tomorrow night as well.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the only thing I really need is a full-time sound engineer, so that when I interview big players that are current EPL members of Tottenham Hotspur, that I don't lose the recording. That's the main thing I need.
What? Brad is so lovely. I am sure he'd do it again for you.
He's brilliant. He was.
We haven't asked
him,
but if you happen to run into him in the halls of Tottenham, give him send him our regards. It's so funny. We check our DMs every day. Did he call? Did he?
He is just an absolute gent. So.
He was. He was.
And we want to pitch him to be our honorary chairman as well.
Yes.
Wow, do that definitely, president.
Show.
Well, guys, hey, thank you very much for joining us. If you guys have not had an opportunity to read Jim's article, we'll post it again on the Twitter and Facebook page. Absolutely fascinating. Katrina Law, thank you so much.
You're really welcome. Sorry about having to move rooms halfway through.
No,
that's fine.
I'm at a dinner party, by the way.
See you on the 15th of May, Friday, with you're going over to Rob White's house. Clear your schedule.
I'm going to invite myself. Don't you?
No.
I've already told her. She's going. Yeah.
Yes. So okay. So we'll get all details out on that. But I'm genuinely excited to meet you. So.
Yeah,
awesome.
Brilliant. Likewise. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. And Sam, you got anything else?
Oh, Jim Caple. I mean, to think that 4 months ago I was just begging for a follow. Now I'm talking to you, and we're recording. So to Jim, to Kat, to
Cheeky.
and Kenny, get in there, son.
I am in there, and for the rest of you lot, be kind to one another, unless the other guy's wearing red.
Wankers.